Hi, my name is Jalen Freeman, outfielder for the Prospect League, Johnstown Mill Rats. You're listening to the Prospect for Success podcast.
Hi, I'm Quenton,
And I'm Michael.
and this is Prospects for Success podcast, where we bring you our thoughts on Prospect League baseball.
News, notes, opinions, and our favorite happenings.
Thanks for joining us for Season 2, Episode 3. Today we are happy to have our guest, Scott Montesano. Scott is play-by-play voice of the Alton River Dragons. He's called over 1,500 baseball games, over 1,000 college and junior hockey games, and some baseball and football games to fill in his spare time. Thank you for joining us today, Scott.
Well, happy to be any opportunity I have to talk, I never turn down.
You know, my wife says the same thing about me. Hey, you've done all 3 seasons with Alton River Dragons. Now we know we can catch you at scottmontesano.com. We catch you on Twitter at Scott Montesano. But tell us a little bit about your experience especially with the Prospect League and with the Western Conference.
Yeah, so it's kind of fortuitous that this opportunity came about. I've called games in the New England League, the New York League, the Frontier League, and a lot of time in the North Woods League. And that's how I got to know the owner of the Alton River Dragons, Steve Marceau. He owned the team in Waterloo, Iowa, when I did a couple of seasons there. And I'd been out of broadcasting baseball for a couple of years. I had focused more on hockey and in college, but always missed baseball. Baseball's always been my number one thing. So when I found out he was starting this team outside of St. Louis, reached out to him. He immediately reached back, said, hey, let's make this thing happen. And that's how I ended up here in Alton, and it's been a great experience. And the Prospect League is one that right now reminds me a lot of when I was in the North Woods League circa 06, 07. I was in that league for the most part from 06 through, say, 2018. And when I first got started in the North Woods League was not what it is now. It had a chip on its shoulder. It wanted to take on the Cape Cod League. It wanted to be number one, or it wanted to be 1A as it is right now with the Cape and them side by side. And there's a lot of similarities between that league and the Prospect League in that regard, and that this is a league that I think is trying to get a chip on its shoulder, wants to be one that is viewed in a higher standing, and I think has a number of individuals working with it that want to bring it up. There are times where I think some people want to skip ahead and say, oh, we're already as good as the North Woods League. It's not quite there yet, but there's an awful lot of potential here, namely the fact that the facilities in this league are by far, from top to bottom, better than most every other summer league there is.
Tell us a little bit about the addition of Thrillville and Jackson.
Yep. So Jackson, we were just down there at the time of this recording. We were just down there last weekend. I think that's an outstanding get for the league, a perfect get. Community of about 70,000, metropolitan area of about 200,000, and a grade A ballpark. We were down there. It's a beautiful field. The grass feels like our players were walking on the grass barefooted. Felt like angels were blowing on their toes. They draw well. Now they've got a big ballpark, but it wears it well when they get 1,500, 2,000 in there. So that's a great get for this league. We talk about facilities. That's something there. We have not been to Marion, Illinois yet, but I've been there before in the Frontier League. That, too, is just an absolute outstanding ballpark. And it goes down to what I said in terms of facilities. If you have very good facilities, and even our smaller facilities, what we play here in Alton is a community park. But we've done a great job here adding to it. There's more stuff that's being planned for the ballpark. So this is probably on the lower end of the facilities, and this is probably middle of the pack in most other leagues. So Jackson and Thrillville, facilities like that, outstanding gets for the league.
All right, I got to be the old man here for a little bit. I mean, the Thrillville Thrillbillies And then, we got the big reveal, and I was there live on Facebook when they were doing it. We got the Jackson Rockabillys. I mean, what's going on? Have we just run out of good team names, or what? I mean, come on, what's going on with all this?
Well, there's a few different ways I'll go that. So I used to work a lot more in the sports marketing aspect of things, running as a general manager of teams and as the marketer of teams, and all these wiener dog races people see at minor league hockey games. I was at the forefront of that about 15 years ago in Des Moines, Iowa, helping to start up a big wiener dog race. In fact, we trademarked the term Doxy Dash. You don't see Doxy Dash anywhere else because we trademarked that. Worked with the Animal Rescue League in Iowa, great gift. But all those other, so I've done a lot of this stuff. People getting tattoos of the team logo on a visible part of their body, all that stuff. There's two ways to look at these two team names. The Rockabillys make sense because that is a term in that area. The rockabilly genre of music and its history, and there's a lot of things that are called rockabilly down there. That makes sense. With all due respect to Thrillville, that seems like they're trying to force it a little bit. And you see this a lot. Everybody's trying to do merchandise. They're all thinking ahead to the merchandise. And the reality of it is most of these places don't do nearly as much merchandise as they think. They've tried too hard with it. It's got to come organically for that. Another thing, something that a lot of teams have done very successfully, though, is they have a more standardized name. That's their team name. Make sure your city's on it. For instance, with us, we're very proud to go on the road, and our road jerseys, big across the chest, say Alton on them. People know where we're from. So you have that, your main name, and then, hey, every Thursday or every few weeks, you break out the wacky team name jersey, and then people have to buy those hats, and people have to buy those T-shirts, and people have to buy all that, or you change your color scheme. That's always whenever I consult with a team, I tell them, don't go too crazy with your actual name. Save yourself room to come up with some fake names along the way.
Oh, it's beautiful stuff. Quenton and I are we're big hockey fans too. We're close to Cincinnati, Ohio, and so we've got the Cincinnati Cyclones here at the ECHL level. And I tell you, there are a lot of people who go to those ECHL games for a lot of things besides the hockey. I mean, they do a lot of stuff on ice and off ice around the sport to get. And so I'm gonna throw in a little. I want to go a little different way with you since you talked about that. Tell us a little bit about some of the differences between like when you're coming in to do play-by-play for a hockey game versus the preparation for and the execution for doing a baseball game.
It's a lot of it is the same, except the information you're using is going to be a lot different. I get to know when I'm embedded with a team. You get to know the players, you get to know the stories, you get to know many more of the storylines. Baseball allows you, though, to tell a narrative, whereas these other sports, I would take it like this. Baseball is more of a walk through the woods, a hike. You're looking at everything around you. You're smelling the flowers. You're seeing the birds. Baseball, football, I should say hockey, football, basketball, it's more like you're driving on an interstate. You're still kind of seeing everything, but it's zipping by you. Preparation is the same. You're still going from point A to point B, but one, you're going a little slower. The other one, you don't have as much time to really see all the nuances of what is passing you by.
What are your favorite Prospect League cities and stadiums to visit?
Yep. So the favorite ones that we've been to so far, I really like Jackson. That was a great ballpark. They treated us well there. So I really like Jackson. I like O'Fallon because it's only a 45-minute drive for us, and a nice ballpark there. Burlington has a really nice press box. Awful drive there. Awful drive to Burlington, but a nice press box there. Clinton's really cool. Terre Haute, really like what they've got there. Enjoyed it when we were out there in Ohio for the league finals last season. So there's a lot of places that I like. We won't dive into the places I don't like. I don't want to start throwing spaghetti at a wall. There's a couple in particular that I'm not too fond of when we go there. But there's an awful lot that I like. And again, it goes down to the facilities. I'm intrigued to go. Illinois Valley. It's like the state of Florida. You like to visit. I wouldn't want to be there a lot because when we went there last year, and I know they've changed it now. They've got a little grandstand, but they used to not even have any seating. And the broadcaster would use a folding table at the side of, right behind the backstop, right next to your own team's dugout. And it was kind of fun. Guys were running by the broadcast booth, yelling, saying hi to their parents and whatnot. And all that sort of thing. And it was kind of cool for a one-time thing, brought me back to doing games in college. So that was fun for a one-time thing, and they were super nice there. But I wouldn't want to do 5-6 games a year in an environment like that. So that wasn't, say, a great facility, but it was a fun experience.
You mentioned your trip to Chillicothe. So since you brought it up, I wasn't going to bring it up, but since you did, I'll go ahead and ask a little bit about that. The end of that 2022 season. Honestly, that whole 2022 season was a pretty great season for the Alton River Dragons. But the last few innings of the championship game didn't quite go their way, and the Chillicothe Paints ended up winning. Now, it wasn't very long after that we started seeing some social media notices saying that this player and that player had committed to come back for this season, and that was crazy unusual for us. Okay, we were not used to seeing players talk about coming back to the Prospect League until finals week of school almost in some cases. There was really this theme of unfinished business in those posts and coming into this season for Alton. Now, these are college players. They come from a lot of different schools. What is it that besides, there's got to be more to it than just, okay, we were that close. What is it that helps really create that sense of community among the players and the coaches, the community that makes them want to come back for another bite at that apple?
Well, there's a couple of things I'll say to that. Obviously, we lost the game 3 of the championship series, though I would contend that here in the Riverbend area, most of the area still feels like we won the whole championship because of the way we got into it, winning on a walk-off grand slam in the conference championship game, down 3 and getting a walk-off grand slam in the bottom of the 9th. People tend to it's like a movie, all right? It's like Major League, all right? The movie stopped when they get into the playoffs. The movie for us stopped when we got into the finals for an awful lot of people. As far as what builds a team identity and whatnot, and I've been with a lot of these teams over the years, there is no one set formula. It is like a Midwestern casserole. There's a lot of ingredients that go in. What is the atmosphere at the top of the organization? For us, Steve runs a mom and pop operation. A lot of respect is given to him and to Dallas, the general manager. The fans and the community have been very supportive on a homey kind of level, which is nice. This has felt like a tight-knit community to begin with. They're very prideful of this team. They're very, as every year goes on, they're very excited that we're back. People in this town don't take us for granted, which is really cool. And then from the players themselves, and this is the important thing that really has to develop year in and year out for a team. They have to show up. One, the coaches have to treat this like, hey, this is the team. Now, I'm your substitute teacher for the summer, all right? I'm going to send you back to your regular teacher in the fall, but we're going to do work here. This is not rolling a TV and I'm going to sit back and nothing's going to go on all day. We're going to work. And for the players, how quickly is it when they arrive that they go from saying, I'm Bob Smith from so-and-so college to I'm Bob Smith with the Alton River Dragons? How quickly do they look at this and this is their team? This is what this is who they are. They're not from so-and-so college. they are a River Dragon. They are a Springfield Lucky Horseshoe. They are a Thrillbilly. They are a Paint. So that is very, very important. That helps to develop that chemistry. And over all these years I've done these games for teams in this league and other leagues, the fact of the matter is most guys tend to have more fun, have more memories, and generate more lifelong friends from what they do in leagues like this than they do during the spring. That's just the reality. It's not for everybody, but for a number of guys, this is where they create their best baseball memories.
I got to tell you, as we've got season tickets for the Chillicothe Paints. We usually sit on the third base bleachers. And so we get to interact a lot with the visiting team because the visiting dugout is on the third base side. A lot of times the field manager for the team will coach the third base box. And we're like, it feels like we're like 6 feet away from him sometimes on that third base side. And so, some of them are a little more open to chat with you during the game than some other coaches and players are. And we get to, there are certain players, there are certain teams that we really look forward to getting to see and getting to come back. And I got to tell you, the Alton guys were fantastic. The 2 games that we got to see in Chillicothe, it was superb getting to see those guys, getting to talk to them through our Prospect League TV membership. We had seen them play on our computer screen here at home, but then to actually get to see him in person, say hi to him, hey, I hope you had a nice trip, all that kind of stuff going on. Good grief, to see Eric Brockmeyer in person too. It's like we knew he was a big guy, but holy crap, the first time he stepped out of the, it's like, yeah, that's a man playing in this league. But to do all that, to see all that, and we've said before on some of these that, as a fan of the organizations, like we are, and as just a fan of the sport and of the league in general, we always kind of draw this line. It's like, okay, we hate the Champion City Kings, but we love every kid on that team. We hate we hate the other team that's the low, but every kid, these are college guys that are doing something because they love it, and there's really something to that. So it's always fun to be able to see those guys come in, and it was fun seeing that with the guys from Alton last year when they came to Chillicothe.
What advice would you have for someone who wants to get into sports broadcasting and sports media as a career?
Don't. No, this is a passion. This is an absolute passion for me. And I knew when I was 12, 13, I was a decent baseball player growing up, but I was too fat and too slow to make a career out of it. I knew that. And I also didn't have the drive to want to go to that next level. But I knew I love sports, want to be around sports, like to talk. The thing that I would tell anybody that they're thinking about doing this, and it's changed a little bit since I got involved 20 years ago, 30 years ago, of course, there's so many opportunities now for people, is start doing it as soon as you can. And that could be, when I was 12, 13, I would take a tape recorder and record games off my Sega Genesis with stats and all these things and record play-by-play of video games. For kids nowadays, for those in high school, those in college, there's so many opportunities with the internet, with local town teams that'll just say, hey, I'll let you come and call the game on the internet for people. Take any opportunity you can. Don't be afraid just to record play-by-play into a tape recorder or, a computer somewhere. Do that. Also get your hand involved in a lot of different forms of media. When I first got started, I was like, I want to broadcast. I kind of like radio in general as well. And from the time I was 12 to the time I got out of college, it really sort of sawed off to where I went, I want to work in sports, in the front office of sports, like a marketer and a sales guy, and broadcast games. So it had really sanded itself down from all these internships I did, all these apprenticeships I did, all these people I talked to, that I went from this broad thing of wanting to do broadcasting and probably focus on sports to I want to work in the business of sports and broadcast. So do as much as you can. write, do podcasts like this, do video, learn how to do video, learn how to do graphic design. I am dumbfounded the number of teenagers that don't know how to do graphic design. And you can wow somebody in their 40s and 50s by simply knowing how to change a font in Adobe Illustrator. Learn how to do that stuff. Follow trends. So just the more you do, the more you'll see exactly what it is that you want to do. Some people say, oh, I want to be a sportscaster. Well, what does that mean for you? Do you want to do a sports talk show? Do you want to do play-by-play? And you don't know entirely what it is you want to do until you do it. And reach out to people like me. Reach out to broadcasters in your town. 99.9% of us will be more than happy to chat with somebody because somebody chatted with us when we were growing up. And as I've said before, we all like to talk. So any opportunity we have to talk, we'll never say no.
That's beautiful stuff. Thanks a lot, Scott. We really appreciate you spending some time with us today while you're out and about. Thanks for joining us on Prospects for Success. We want to wish you the best of luck, safe travels, and good luck to you and the River Dragons this year.
No problem at all.
Thanks for joining us for Season 2, Episode 3. We will see you at the ballpark.